In this video, I want to talk about my experience being locked up inside California prison. I do want to preface this video by saying that this is my experience and that someone else that went to prison inside California may have a very different experience and their story may not be the same as mine. And you'll often hear it on the prison tube. They talk a lot about violence, about how they got into this fight and then someone else got into that fight, and drugs, gangs, and like I'm the leader of this yard and I held the keys and it's very macho, like, oh, give me your stuff. You ever got your stuff pushed in? Now, I'm not saying that things like that don't happen, because it does happen, but for the most part, most of the prisons is not like that. At least in my experience and from what I know from a lot of experiences, like those moments do happen, but if you look at like over a long period of time, the ratio of that happening compared to the moments where it's very calm and collected, it's very minuscule compared to like the overall scope of like activity that happens in prison. Okay, now, I ended up going to this prison. It was called North Kern State Prison, and that was in Central Valley. It's middle of California, and oh, it's right next to a place called Delano. I don't know if you guys are familiar with that, but it's right there. Now, at the time, North Kern State Prison, they had this yard. I believe it was B yard. That's where I was housed at. And B yard, it was a 50-50 yard where it was like half reception inmates and other half was regular inmates, level 3 inmates. All right. Now, there was my friend that ended up being on that yard, someone that I know outside on the streets. And he was like, hey, you want me to pull you in? Like, I saw him on the yard one time. He was like, hey, bro, you want to come in here? Like, you want to do your time here? We can get together in the cell. And I was like, bet, let's go. You know what I mean? Let's do it. But when I got there, I was part of the reception side. Okay, I was part of the reception, and he was already doing time as a level 3 inmate. And what that means, level 3 inmate, is that there are different tiers of how the prison system houses you. Now, the higher the number, the more time you did or the severity of your crime. It's based off a point system. So there's like a bracket of points. So level 1 might be like 1 to 10. And if you're within that bracket, like you're not doing a lot of time, your crime wasn't as serious, there was no victims, and you get kind of housed here. Or maybe the level of crime was a little bit more, you're level 2, and then you're level 3, level 4, maximum security, so on and so on. I don't really know. I'm not one of those badass gangsters that was all the way up there. Like, that wasn't my experience. Okay, I'm just sharing what I went through. Now, when I first got there, I was housed there as reception. Now, reception is the prison system. California is trying to figure out where to house you permanently. Now, in California, typically they're not going to house you on the same yard or the same area where you have enemies, or maybe you have family members of the victims, if there are victims involved in your case. And they got to go through that process. Or maybe you have someone that's like you don't get along with on your list, maybe not an enemy, but they have like information and they got to kind of sort through that, right? And once they figure it out, then you leave reception into long-term stay. That's where you're going to be housed at for majority of the part for the remaining of your time. Now, the cool thing about the system, and it could be bad as well, is that over time, your level system, right? Remember I was mentioning earlier, 1, 2, 3, 4, your points can drop. You have like an annual review where if your points drop, then you go from, let's say, a level 3 down to a level 2. And if, level 2, you do enough time, then maybe you're level one, or maybe you get capped out at two. I don't really know. If someone knows, let me know below in the comments, man. But I went to North Kern State Prison as reception. During this time, there's no phone calls, none of that stuff. And when you walk in, I'll give you an example what B yard looked like. It's it looks just like this. It's kind of like a square in some sense, right? On this side, you have all the services. You have your cafeteria. You have medical. You have your library. You have commissary, where you can like buy extra food and stuff. And then you have the buildings over here. Like this is where they house inmates here. Another building here. Another building here. And each building has jail cells, or maybe right here has an auditorium, and that's where they house all the inmates outside because it's overcrowding. And each one has different jail cells and layouts inside each one, or not layouts, but different inmates in each one. And in the middle is a yard. There's a track, and it runs this way, right? Over here you have all like the pull-ups and the dips, and then over here you had the basketball court, and then you had a big open field in the middle with grass, actual grass from what I remember. But yeah, I ended up getting housed over here. And right when you walk up, it's this very imposing building made of like cement. And you look up, you're like, holy smokes. It kind of reminds me like a three-story building, right? And then there's like this little window, and that's where the CEO is at. And they have like a little drawstring where like they have a bucket tied to it, and they kind of like slowly throw it down to you, and the people can put stuff in it, and they pull it back up, and that's how like they can kind of go up and down and give stuff to each other, the cops, without walking down the stairs and going back up. But anyways, you walk into like this building, it's like this entranceway, right? It's very imposing, and they open it up for you. And right when you walk into like this little hallway, and then it opens up really wide. Bam! And it's like a 3-section building. 1, 2, 3, and each one has jail, prison cells. Every like, I don't know, 10 feet there's a door. 10 feet another door. 10 feet another door. 10 feet another door, and it's 2 stories. But it's split right down the middle. So right when you walk in, there's like a little small area for the CEOs, right in the middle. Right when you walk in, it's like boom, they're right there. And there's about like 2 or 3 standing there, and they got like, I don't know, their computer or whatever they're doing. There's also, right when you look up, remember I was telling you that window outside, they also have the command center up there as well, and they can kind of communicate, relay information to one another right there. And it's like plexiglass or some up top. And this building was 2 stories, and there's like cells on this side, cells in the middle, and then cells along the other side here. And then you have day rooms on each side. One day room over here with benches and a TV, and then other side you got benches and a TV over here. And because we have such overcrowding inside prison in California, there were a whole bunch of bunk beds outside in the open area in the day room, right? The day room is pretty much a place where inmates can go and chill at, right? They had a whole bunch of bunk beds, man. It was crazy. Luckily for me, I ended up getting a cell in the corner, right? Let's say this is the building here. You walk in, jail cells along here, here, and here, and there's like a little command center for the COs. Like I said, there's the other command center that's upstairs. You have your day room here, and it's split. Like I said, there's a hallway that comes in, it's split. You have your day room, benches, TV, and then on the other side you have your another day room with benches, and then another TV. The reason why it's split is because on one side you have 2 ethnicities. You might have like the Southerners, and then you have the whites, and then on the other side you have the blacks and the others. And then, you know, depending on your ethnicity, you go to either side, right? And that's where you hang out. And they also have showers right here. Now the showers is different than jail. The This one's kind of different, where in the sense of it's like you walk in, it's like this entrance, right? Like a square entrance. And right where you walk in, there's two walls. It's a dead end, and it's not that deep in. There's two shower heads, one, two. There's a wall here, and then there's a wall right in front of you, maybe about like 6 feet in, right? And there's like an opening, like a big old opening, and then you walk in, and then right when you turn around, boom, there's a wall, and then right here, boom, there's one, two shower heads. Typically, when you take a shower, they have someone waiting outside to watch out for you, and then you go in, you do your thing, you come back out. But luckily for me, it was kind of cool. I ended up getting a cell in this corner right here, like the layout. I was on the bottom floor. I had a jail cell, I had a prison cell right in this corner. And right here, right next to me, I had a cell with homies as well. When I say homies, it's like others, right? That was the car that I was riding with. It's there's four ethnicities when you go to prisons that you ride with. There's four groups, right? The first one is the Southerners, or there's multiple, but at least where I was at, there was four on that yard. There was no Northerners. There was Southerners, whites, blacks, and then others. I had a jail cell here. Another two others had a jail cell here, and we can communicate. We relay information, but my experience there during that time of reception, how do I say it? It had me reflect a lot in my life. You know, when you're going through jail, you are so focused on the outcome of the case that that's all you really think about, right? That's all your family's ever thinking about. But when you go to prison and you get sentenced, for me at least, that's where I did a lot of introspection. I looked inwards, had a lot of thoughts to myself, but it also made me very isolated. That was a good term that I like to use because, when you're in Los Angeles County Jail, even though you're not physically next to your people, like you're not living with them, right? And you can't go see your homies. It was just nice knowing that, hey, my loved ones were maybe 5 feet away, or 5 miles away, or you got a homie that's like 10 miles away down the street in Alhambra or something from Los Angeles, Twin Towers. But me being so far away in North Kern State Prison, that was like about 2.5 hour drive, maybe 3 hours or something. I felt very alone. That's like a good word. I felt lonely and I felt alone. I've never ever experienced that feeling until I got locked up. And you don't hear this story told a lot by inmates. Because usually if you go type in prison, you hear about like, oh, what's good, homie? This is what I did. Look at my spread. This is my care package. Look at all the goods that I got, homie. Look at my tattoo gun, and I got a cell phone. Let me show you doing burpees. But they never show the other side of it, right? It kind of reminds me of social media, where people always show the good side, but they never talk about the bad side. When I came home from prison, I had stacks and stacks and stacks of letters, like a freaking big old, like you can feel a big old cardboard box, and it was heavy, full of letters. Like I wrote letters every single day, just writing. That's what kept my mind sane, working out and letters. That's my program. But it was the first time I ever felt like that, and man, I will be very open here, where I remember a night when I first got into the prison cell. I remember initially when I walked in, I had Asian homie. It was a Vietnamese dude from 626. He was a little kind of off. He had to take some meds for for the things that he had to go through, and he was very cool, very calm. But I remember one night when it was like, I think the first week of getting there, I remember laying down. Lights are off at 9, right? They turn off the lights at 9 inside prison, and then that's when everyone's supposed to go to sleep, because they turn them on again at 5 in the morning. That's 8 hours. You're supposed to get your 8 hours of sleep. So, Lights on at 5, lights off at 9, and it's quiet time afterwards. Right? You can't be loud because everyone's trying to sleep. So I remember within like the first day or two, I remember just laying there. And I was like just overwhelmed with like feelings, and I remember just like a tear just came down. I was like, oh man, I really messed up. I really messed up my life now, man. Everyone's gone and it's just me. And I remember I got off the bunk, and in the back of your jail cell, right? It's about like 10 feet down. It's maybe about like 7, 8 feet across, 10 by 8, something like that, right? And in the back of your jail cell, they have like this window. It's about maybe 6 inches in yeah, it's about 6 inches in width, and maybe about 2 feet or 3 feet in height. And you can look out. And I remember just looking out, just like staring outside. And you got to remember, most prisons are located in the middle of nowhere, in the desert, where there isn't a large population. It's like if you go to Google Maps and you open it up, you type in prisons, you'll see that most of the prisons are just in the way out middle of nowhere, man. And that's where I was at. I was literally in like middle of nowhere. And I remember I look out, and like maybe about 10 feet down was like 2 rows of fences. You gotta remember those fences, they're electrified. So if you grab it, it's fatal. Keep that in mind, man. Don't grab the fences. And it's 2 layers. So if you get over one, and there's about like 10 feet, then you got to get over another one. And they got barbed wires over, and then you got the security shack at the end where, the guard tower, they might gun you down if you're trying to escape. But I remember one night, like that night when I shed that tear, I remember looking out the window. I was like, man. And I just stared, blank mind. And I saw the moon. And it made me have this thought. And it made me have this thought that I share with my family. Maybe this is something you can share with your peoples too, if you know someone that's going through this process. And I remember writing this to my mom, all my loved ones, just close people, right, that I truly, truly care about. And I said, hey, man, I wrote a letter, and I was like, hey, there's ever a time you miss me, okay? Look at the moon, because I'll be looking at the moon every single night. And just know that if you look at the moon, I'm looking at it too, and we're looking at it together. Yeah, man, prison was something else. It's been so long since I've been to prison, and maybe things are different now, but that feeling I felt still remains to this day, and it's been a very long time. I just turned 41 about 5 days ago, and sharing these stories with you guys made me reflect on life so much. Um, don't waste your time, man. Time is so valuable, and when you go to prison, that's wasted time. That's one way that the system, like the government, the system, whatever it is, the enemies, that's how they keep you down. So if there's like one thing you could take away from this video, it's just to value your time, man. Do whatever it is you're gonna do. If you say you're gonna do something, do it, man. Go out there and explore. Don't waste it doing nothing, doing mindless things. Go call someone. Say you love them. Spend that time wisely, because it's gonna go by so freaking fast. When I went in, I was freaking 21. I just turned 41 in the blink of an eye. What is it, 2 decades? Just went away. 2 centuries? No, I don't know. Yeah, 2 decades. 10 years? 10 years, 10 years, yeah. 2 decades. Went away, just like that. Yeah, man. In these videos that I share with you guys I feel like it's a sense of my duty to share these stories and to find lessons in my life to share with the upcoming future, because a lot of people don't like have someone to talk to, have someone to really tell them what life's really about, right? Because they're so used to social media where it's like they see all the flashy things, all the nice stuff. Hey, man, you can make $1 million in 6 days, man. I did it. Lose 50 pounds in 30 days. Like all this flashy, stupid stuff, man. So, what I'm trying to do is create a platform where I can share my story and give life lessons because I feel like it's my duty to help the upcoming generation of adults come up understanding the pitfalls of life, and not everything is sweet. Got to realize that, man. And hopefully this platform is able to do so. So if you felt like you learned something, this touched you in a certain way, you felt something about it, you want to support, there's a subscribe button right down below, man. You can also like the video. Another thing you can really do too is share this video with others. And if you feel like there's someone that would benefit watching this video, send it to them. It's only 2 clicks. Hit that share button, find the name, boom, send it. So that's what I'm trying to do with this platform that I have, and hopefully, I have your support. So that's my life lesson for today. I'll catch you guys in the next one. Peace.